Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Hello students, I wish you a very happy greetings of seasons greetings from my side. Why I am narrated in beginning about the season and seasons greetings, because this is our environment and we are going to learn about the business environment. It also affects our Indian season, also affects our business situation. Imagine that before few days we were complaining about lack of rain, and now we are complaining about over rain. So this is the climate, or this is the environment, we can say that, which is not in our control. But if you are doing any kind of business, we have to keep ourselves updated to face any change in any kind of environment. Any kind of environment in the sense, it can be cultural changes, it can be social, it can be political change. Suppose a party is not getting any support from its supportive other parties. It is not my cup of tea because it is a big and other issue. But for example, we can take a natural environment which is not in our control, but the science and technology has so developed and so beneficial to ourselves that we are now in the situation that we can control and predict. We can predict and we can control enough to some extent to minimize the loss. I always say that the business has two main aspects. The first is to maximize profit, and if you are not in the situation to maximize profit, we have to focus on how to minimize loss. In this situation too, we have to see our environment. Before we start our this session, I must say that a businessman or businesswoman, very clear business person, need to be an accountant, need to be an environmentalist, a technologist, a politician, a cultural, having a cultural knowledge, and scientist, and knowledge of art and everything. A business person should have the knowledge of all facets of life. The person should have holistic approach to sell the product or to sell the service, because not we are in the age where we are selling our service also. For example, someone is repairing the some computer hardware and software repairing person. For example, someone is serving as a nurse, or someone is doing some another job. So in modern economy, service sector is also developing. So we have to see our surrounding to get success in our business. So let us start our today's session. The overview of the unit is see the physical environmental factors we are going to see. The next is the cultural environmental factors. What is culture? The culture is the way of living. It is developed society or society's feature, can be said. Culture can be said as society's feature, basic features of the society. So first, what are the learning objectives? We will be able to identify environmental factors after learning this unit. Although we have learnt before this session about environmental other factors, but this will be in depth. And the second is to understand concept of physical and cultural environmental factors. So we are going to learn or to learn to identify features or factors. We know that these are the environmental factors and these are the cultural factors, but now suppose we are going to start any activity, can we say any economic activity in some unknown area, or the area is known but the activity is unknown for that area. This is also possible. So, we are going to make it successful. The activity should be should have success in future. So, we have to see our surrounding, or in other words we have to see our environment. So, first we should go to the physical environment. We should know about the topography of that area. Second, climate of that area. Climate is general atmosphere, can be said this area is in general for the whole year it remains hot, or in general the area gets very scant rain. So, we should be familiar to start any kind of activity. So, another is minerals. The area has a good nature of, and minerals have a very good natural minerals, has a very good resource, water resources. So, this is the first basic identification of any area. Now, we can take an example. For example, we have to establish a factory, or we have to open an office. We have to start an office or factory in a where we are going to start. So, first the location factor is a key factor. So, which one is the best location to which that gets our access of raw material? That means availability of a road and telephone network and internet network that connects ourselves with the wholesalers, or we can say as buyers or sellers. So, access of raw material, means of transportation, good connectivity, these are the key factors that we would like to start our activity or economic activity in that area. So, another is market to sell the products. Suppose the area is very good that supports your production, but the market accessibility is not possible. The area is not getting any kind of familiarity with your product. So, you have to market, you have to do marketing for that product or the service, or which kind of people are living there. So, we have to look all these factors which are our environment. Availability of cheap and skilled labor. You can get very quality full of resources or raw materials or anything, or machinery or mechanic services, but you are not able to get any kind of source of cheap and skilled labor. So, your work will not be successful in future. So, and another factor is government policy for that place. Suppose government is in the intention to develop that area. Imagine that area is has very scarce population and has to be developed in a way. So, government will announce the policy, for example, tax benefits and subsidies, and so to develop that area. On the other hand, if the area is most populous or most polluted, in this case government will not allow us to start any kind of activity that pollutes the area more. So, we have to search also for that areas particular government policy for particular that area. Now, what will be the impact in our decision? The absence of well set infrastructure. Imagine that we are not getting any we are getting fluctuating internet connectivity, or we are not having any good quality of telephone network. So, we will be in the difficulty to communicate with our buyers and sellers. How to get raw materials smoothly, how to sell our product, how to send our products to the market, to the buyers smoothly. So, it is very important to have well set infrastructure. In the absence of well set infrastructure, that causes the irregularity in access of market. For example, in the absence of all weather road, so the village will remain village in the absence of all weather road. It will cause, or it will affect to the medical facilities, to the educational facilities. So, first we have to see the basic infrastructure. Now, what is infrastructure? The infrastructure is the structure that supports the business process or any kind of activity, economic activity to run smoothly. For example, our skeletal of our body. In the absence of our body skeletal, we cannot stand up perfectly. So, in this situation, similarly, our business activity cannot run in the absence of well set infrastructure. The other is fluctuating phone and internet connectivity. So, this is our these are our basic requirements that we need to before we start any kind of economic activity. I am not using the word business always, because any kind of economic activity will require definitely these are the factors that we have to see first. So, many times government provides such kind of facilities because this requires a large kind of investment and has the very big gestation period. So, first when you are going to invest in building constructing a road, or we have to in provision of any good connectivity of internet, we need a large amount of investment. So, in modern situation, the government is taking partnership with public sectors, private sectors. So, this is also an opportunity to invest in such kind of infrastructural facilities. The another think about next thing we have to think about, where will you open a grocery shop? For example, you are going to start your activity, a startup, anything like you are going to start your grocery shop. Where will you start your grocery shop? Second question, where to start a clinic or hospital? Third is where to spare land for wholesale market of agro products. Here you must see the difference between these three questions. For example, when you are going to start a wholesale marketing of agro products, you will be in requirement of a large amount of empty land. But when you are going to open a grocery shop, you definitely will be in the requirement of with the area which is developed with the population. So, developed area or other in this case very density population is very dense, you cannot open wholesale market of agro products, but you have to open your grocery shop in the area where you can get a dense population, so that you can get a very good amount of buyers. So, you have to think about such kind of environment also. Environment is just not only the number of literate person or the number of schools and number of banks. This is not the only environmental factor, but means which kind of persons you are getting from that area. For example, you have to appoint a staff, or you have to appoint a helper in a wholesale market, or in other words you have to appoint a person to work in work with you in a grocery shop. So, how will you be able to get such kind of person who is honest, having the knowledge of a little knowledge of account and everything? So, you will be in the requirement of for example, you are paying some amount as a salary. So, if the person is living far from your shop or your market area, it will be difficult to give you more amount of salary to travel for that person. So, better connectivity of road is also important, good schooling is important for you to. So, this is the environment for which we have to look. So, these are the physical environment as well as social or cultural environment. The next is again we have to think more if we are going to start a business. So, where a branded garment showroom will succeed? So, next is next question is where a street retail shopping can succeed. Now, see the difference between these two questions, where a branded garment showroom will succeed and where a street retail shopping can succeed. Now suppose you are going to start your business in a small town, which is not village, but it is not a mega city or a big city. So your a big branded showroom will not succeed in that area. So you have to start your production or your selling in the format of retail small shop, which is selling of that kind of particular products. But you are going to start your big branded showroom. You can start it, you cannot start it in a village, you have to start it in a big city, having a good kind of infrastructure, because that type of persons will be your buyers. So you will have to appoint that kind of persons who can sell very sophisticatedly. So this is the environment. Again we have to think that when we are going to start any kind of our business activity, we should always look for natural or climate also. For example, in a hot kind of climate where the area is very hot, we cannot sell that kind of more leather products as an apparel. So we cannot, but such kind of food products or such kind of any kind of apparels or any kind of other house appliances. Now cultural factors, these were the infrastructural factors. Now we are moving towards the cultural factors. The infrastructure, how can we say it is a cultural factor? We will discuss it later. First we see the second point is technology. Third is tradition. Tradition, as it is the traditionally people follow that kind of rule which are not written or having not any kind of logical support, but they are following by tradition, we can say. The fourth is political setup and fifth is educational setup. These are the 5 factors that makes the cultural environment. For example, infrastructure. Infrastructure can be said not only physical infrastructure like all weather road or connectivity, these are the infrastructure or physical infrastructure, but in a social or cultural infrastructure we have to add people's ability, people's attitude, people's aptitude, people's skill, people's education, people's health facilities and attitude towards getting the such kind of facilities, adaptation of a changing situation in any kind of environmental factors, we would say. So these are the infrastructures that formats the supportive background or supportive situation for any kind of business activity. So so for example, technology. In latest or recent experience, we are overcoming, we are taking control, as we have discussed earlier in this lecture, that technology has moved so ahead that we are controlling now our situation, that we can maximize our loss from the natural calamities. For example, it was predicted for a cyclone, prediction of cyclone, overrain or flood. We are in the situation that we are making least damage for our business or any kind of persons. So technological knowledge and technological adaptation is very important, and it should be adopted by any kind of any person who is doing any kind of economic activity. The third is tradition. Sorry, it is my mistake. The tradition, what is tradition? For example, we are celebrating festivals in Indian culture, so it is a tradition. We have to search opportunities to sell our product. We have to search opportunities to buy that kind of materials which we can sell or by which we can make our profit. For example, we have adopted many other international festivals too in Indian culture. So these are the adoption of tradition is very beneficial for development of any kind of business. For example, it's a tradition of fireworks in the Diwali days. So we have the opportunity to sell and produce that kind of products. gift articles and other kind of gift cards are, these are the tradition that we have adopted from other society and other culture. The third is political setup. Imagine that a political setup is not stable, where you will get every day you will get a change in policies. You how will you set your business? For example, change in tax structure, changes in prices and interference by the government. These are the rules and regulations. So, stability in government is most important part for any kind of economic development. So, economy cannot be thought separately without political setup. So, in this situation we have to see political setup also when we are going to start any business. Another is basic social and cultural environment. Now, this is the slide we have to learn. So, basic, which are the socio cultural environment now? The first is population is the basic factor. When you are going to learn or going to start any kind of business in any kind of area, you must study about the population of that area. For example, number of population, that for example, there are 10 lakhs of people are living in this area. So, you will get many opportunities, abundance of opportunities to get cheap labor, skilled labor, because you will have schooling facilities, you will have banking facilities. So, this is the most populous area and you will be able to get such kind of. Another benefit, what will be the another benefit in opening in any kind of activity? That population is the source of your buyers. You can sell your product or service here where it is, which has the big number of population. And on the other side, if the area is least populated, for example, very 5,000 people are living in that area. So, it is a village and that 10 lakh people are living in that area, that is a city. You will get many opportunities to start your any kind of economic activity. For example, number of male and female. Which kind of business will be successful in this area? You have to see the number of female, number of male, number of children. Suppose you are going to open a shop of stationery. So, in this case you will see, suppose children are here, which kind of products will be sold. Here old age people, for example, are living here. So, you can start your service and medicines and that kind of hospitals and any other services. The other is education. If the education network is developed, literacy, you will get a literate person as buyers as well as workers of in your unit. Technological knowledge, occupation, banking habits. Imagine there is an area which has no kind of any other supporting activity. For example, your shop is the only shop and there is no banking facility and there is no hospital, even a clinic, there is no school. How your business will succeed there? It will not succeed, because in the success of your business you need a very good infrastructure which supportive a kind of activities. It requires a good banking facility, it requires a very good connectivity, it requires some housekeeping services also to keep your surrounding clean. For example, you need some repairers or mechanics also, in schooling facilities also. These are the environment that you will be in requirement to start or succeed in your business. So, this was our unit. Now, let me give you some examples of your questions. When you are going to start, I would say that your goal should not be only limited to pass this exam, but imagine, and you have to start your learning or start your journey of learning with the goal that you are going to start your own activity in future. how to start any kind of economic activity, and this imagination will help you to score more marks in examination. In our earlier lecture, I have given you an example of how to appear in examinations. For example, suppose you have to answer an essay type question. In this case, you must start your answer with definition of that particular word. For example, you are asked for climate. For example, you are asked for social infrastructure. For example, you are asked for any kind of government policy. So, first you need to start give your answer with the definition of that particular word. That will keep you on track. Then you will have to answer few of your objective type questions. For example, when was the new economic policy was started, when was the educational policy was started, what are the which one is the feature of this policy, which government has started this policy, who has introduced this kind of structure, who has introduced public and private partnerships. So, these kind of questions will have only one answer. In this case, you will have to be very particular in replying this answer, because you must have the knowledge of that particular word. In absence of such kind of exact knowledge, you must eliminate, you must start your answer with elimination of wrong answers. That this was the policy, that was not in this kind of this type of government, this was the policy, this is the area where you will not get such kind of minerals, where you are able to find oils, from which country you are getting mineral oils. So, you should have all kind of such kind of knowledge. And how to answer objective type of questions, you should have that exact knowledge. And in the type of essay type questions, you should have to elaborate that the whole factors, and you must give examples. A very good example will give you a very good score of marks. So, in this situation, you must prepare your answer with elaboration. If you are able to elaborate answer, it is not possible that you are able also to answer in objective type questions too. So, you have to prepare for both type of answers in succeeding the exams. But as I said, that if you want to be successful businessman or business person, you should have the knowledge of all the aspects of your life. You should have the knowledge of political situation, you should have knowledge about the predictions by the scientists. So, we have to go through every day, we have to keep ourselves updated with changes coming in the environment. So, this was the journey that you have started towards being a successful businessman. Our best wishes are always with you. I wish you a very good time ahead. Have a nice time.